ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नमः श्री शंकरानंद नमः श्री शंकरानंद गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलास महामोह सविलास महामोह ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे। It was shown how the rajas and tamas, they obstruct the happiness, and when the mind is sattvic, then the happiness, that is Brahman, becomes reflected, becomes manifest. And this was explained with various examples based on our own experience as to how when there is a desire in the mind is restless, and also there is an apprehension of whether the desire will be complete or not, fulfilled or not, and so that is not conducive to happiness. And if the desire is not fulfilled, that very unhappiness becomes more enhanced. If I see that there is a possibility of fulfillment of desire and I see an obstruction, then the desire gets turned into anger. And if the desire gets fulfilled but I get opposite result, then there arises dvesha, a hatred or resentment. And so, when thus we hold these vrittis or the thoughts which we call rajas, certainly one cannot be happy. And then, when there is an obstacle or there is an assault on me, I am not able to retaliate, I am not able to stop it or resist it, then there is a sense of hopelessness or a grief. And then also there is a tamoguna, and then also there cannot be happiness. On the other hand, so thus when the vrittis are rajas and tamas, the happiness cannot be there, that is our experience. On the other hand, when my desire is fulfilled, then my mind becomes quiet and I experience a great joy. And when I experience the object of happiness, there is even a greater joy. However, the greatest joy is when my mind enjoys what we call a state of vairagya, a state of freedom from desire or freedom from demand, which is the sattvic mind. Sattvic or divine tendencies, as described in the Bhagavad Gita and also in the scripture. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshantihi, arjavam. When the mind enjoys those kind of vrittis, then also the mind is tranquil, and then also there is an experience of happiness. And therefore, whenever we experience happiness of whatever kind, we should know that there is experience of Brahman. That happiness is experienced when the mind becomes tranquil. Depending upon the degree of tranquility of the mind, there is an experience of the degree of happiness, but all that happiness should be known to be happiness of Brahman, or the self. And what is meant by the sattvic mind? When is it that the mind is tranquil or sattvic? When the mind becomes introvert, meaning it becomes abiding. As long as the mind is extrovert, focused upon something other than the self, that mind is restless. When the mind is focused upon the self, it is what we call introvert or an abiding mind. At that time, one experiences happiness. Having said this, subsequently, the teacher tells us how we can contemplate upon Brahma. What is Brahma? Satta, Chitihi, Sukham cha. Existence, awareness, happiness is the nature of Brahma. And we find that this satta or existence, that Brahman is manifest in all inert objects, such as clay, such as rock. In all these inert objects, we find existence manifest. It is manifest everywhere. And everything in the creation reflects or manifests existence. All awareful beings also reflect existence. And the inert things also reflect existence. Except that the awareful beings reflect also the consciousness, which the inert things do not reflect. In that sense, we say that such objects as wood, a rock and things like that, so So they primarily manifest the satta or the existence that is Brahma. Whereas in the mind, the chitti or the awareness is reflected. So whatever be the nature of mind, whether mind is agitated due to rajas, or the mind is dull, or sad due to tamas, then also the awareness is reflected in there. So the various thoughts of the mind reflect both the existence and awareness. Whereas when the mind becomes tranquil, then even the happiness also is reflected. Thus in the tranquil mind, the existence, awareness and happiness, all the three are reflected. This is how we say Mishram Brahma, meaning Supadikam of Saprapancham Brahma, Brahman in association with Prapancha or the creation. As far as Brahman, without any reference to the creation, meaning Shuddha Brahma is concerned, then this was described in the first 3 chapters. In the 11th chapter, the method of yoga was prescribed to gain the experience of Brahma. In the 12th and 13th chapters, the Viveka discrimination and the both in both the cases, in one case the Atma Anatma Viveka, in the other case Satya Mithya Viveka, the path of Viveka or inquiry, Vichara was described there. And thus one can know Brahman as the very self, which is what we call Shuddham Brahma or attributeless Brahman, which is a self. So the 11th chapter describes how one can know that through the path of yoga. The 12th and 13th chapter describe how one can know that through the path of vichara. Alright, if Brahma is Satchit Ananda, then what is the nature of Maya? So Maya is just the opposite of that. Asat, Achit and Anananda. Asat, Achit means Jada, Anananda means Dukkha. Therefore Asat, Jada and Dukkha is the nature of Maya. Where do you find this? Narashungadav. In such entities as Narashunga, meaning the horn of a human being, this, what is evident is non-existence. I don't know how to say that. You can't say non-existence is evident, because what is evident naturally has to be existence. And so you can't even say that the horn on my head is an entity, because the entity also must have an existence. So what do you say? Narashungadav. In such things also, you can't say thing, as the horn of the hair or the horn of a human being. Asatta, you understand that asatta, non-existence, is associated with them. Kashta shiladishu, in such inert objects as wood and rock, etc., then we find also the asat, the jardyam, jadata, meaning the inertness is evident there. And when the mind is rajas or tamas, that time dukkha is evident. So understand that this is the nature of Maya. Shantadi buddhi vrittyakyat mishram brahmeti kirtam. And thus we have described mishram brahma, meaning Brahman in association with the upadi, namely the mind. And that has been thus described. Now continuing the discussion of the verse 25. Etad abhidhanam kimartham. So what's the reason why you have said all this? What's the reason why you said that Brahma is Satchidanandam, or that Maya is just the opposite of that, and that Sat, Chit and Ananda, that is Brahman, is manifest in various degrees in various objects? What's the purpose of saying these things? Answer is Brahma Dhyanasam, so that one can contemplate upon Brahma. This we call Drishyanavidha, the contemplation with reference to the objects. So, in order that one can contemplate upon Brahma or the self with reference to the object, that all of this has been stated. And that is being said in the verse 25. Evam sthite trayo brahma, evam sthite trayo brahma, dhyatum icchet pumanaso, dhyatum icchet pumanaso, nrishangādimupekṣeta, nrishangādimupekṣeta, shishtam dhyāyed yathāyatham, shishtam dhyāyed yathāyatham. Evam sthite, this being the case. What being the case? That Brahma is Satchit Ananda. That Brahman that is Sat is manifest in such inert objects as rock, etc. Brahman that is Chit is manifest in various thoughts of the mind. And Brahma that is Ananda is further manifest in what we call the tranquil or the quiet mind. That being the case, Yah Puman Asau Brahma Dhyatumitchet. The person who is desirous of contemplating or meditating upon this Brahman, what should he do? Nrusangādi upeksheta sistam dhyaye dyathāyatham. He should upeksheta. Nrusangādi upeksha anyatra brahma dhyanam kartavyam. That you should have upeksha. Upeksha means be indifferent to or overlook such things as the horn of the hare or the rock or the wood or the various thought forms. Be indifferent to them and contemplate upon Brahman, that is the content or the essence of this. It was said earlier, we discussed in the earlier chapter also, on the lines of what we call Drugdasya Viveka, Asti Bhati Priyam Rupam, Nama Chetyam Supanjakam, Adyatrayam Brahma Rupam, Jagad Rupam Tadodvayam. That every object has these five aspects, Asti, Bhati and Priyam, that it is, it shines and it is dear. It is a name, it is a form. And thus, in all the objects that are created, Abhinnaha Satchidanandaha Vidyate Rupanamani. In all the objects, sentient or insentient, that we come across, that name and form vary. But Satchit Ananda is Abhinna, is invariable. So in every name and form, the invariable essence is Satchidananda, existence, intelligence, happiness. That is the intelligence or order. Put it this way. Existence, intelligence, order is something that is evident in every object. Vidyate Rupanamani. The Rupa and the Nama, the form and the name varies. So that is what distinguishes one object from the other. But then, the Satchit Ananda is the invariable, most common denominator, the essence or the content of every name and form. And therefore, every name and form can become, therefore, a gate or a means for contemplating upon Brahma. How? Upekshana rupedve Satchidananda Tatparaha. Thus being indifferent to name and form. Tatparaha. And focusing the attention or being committed to Satchit Ananda. How nice that would be. How nice that life would be. And this is the value. All the values are given to us in order to accomplish this meditation. That ultimately we become indifferent to the name and form and we become only different to or committed to the Satchit Ananda. Understand all the values. Whether it's amanitvam, humility, arambitvam, non-pretentiousness, ahimsa, non-violence, kshantihi, accommodation or forgiveness, arjavam, straightforwardness, honesty, all these values are told to us. They all amount to overlooking or being indifferent to the name and form and being referent to or being committed to the essence that name and form represents. Because violence can only happen at the level of name and form. And I can be violated also by another name and form. And so, I can express my violence also at the level of name and form. Suppose I become indifferent to the name and form which has violated me, and I become only aware of, or I focus my attention on the Satchit Ananda, there cannot be any violence. And so non-violence value will require that I should become indifferent to the violent aspect of the name and form that I meet with, and that's name and form. Thus, violence can be there only when the importance is given to name and form. Pretentiousness can be there only when there is importance given to name and form. Pride or arrogance can be there when importance is given to name and form. And thus, when name and form are important, then there is the problem with the values. And value thus requires me to become more and more indifferent to the wrapper in which that Satchidananda comes. So name and form being a wrapper, and what is contained in the wrapper is Satchit Ananda. So more aware I become of that, more focused I become, more committed I become, more and more indifferent I become to name and form. And thus these values require If I want to hold on to my ego or my this individuality, it is not possible to follow any value. Because the value requires that I must become indifferent to my own ego, meaning an overly concern or an overly awareness or self-consciousness about the name and form. So more self-conscious I am about the name and form, more difficult it is to follow the values. Less conscious I become about the name and form, or less concerned I become about the name and form. Suppose it is inferior, so what? Suppose it is, I don't know, something is done to it, so what? It's a name and form. The essence cannot be touched. And thus more focused I become upon the essence that I am, easier it will become. So more value I give to Satchidananda, less value given to name and form, and more will it be possible for me to follow the values. So all spiritual sadhana's values, all of them are ultimately this method of enabling us to become indifferent to the name and form and being deferent to the Satchidananda. So it is said here, Nrishangadi upeksheta. One should be indifferent to Nrishanga, meaning the form of a human being, meaning non-existent thing. Shishtam dhyayed yathayatham. And then, in third which is other than that, of course, Nrishanga is non-existent, and therefore one cannot contemplate upon Brahma with reference to a non-existent entity. So one should give up that trying to contemplate upon Brahman on the horn of the hair, because it is not possible to contemplate upon existence in a non-existent thing. But then, other than that, all the existent names and forms, whether sentient or insentient, all of them lend themselves to the contemplation upon Brahman. Yathayatham, yathochitam, meaning as appropriate, one should contemplate upon Brahman in other names. Alright? Anyatra, that we should meditate upon Brahman, on everything, with the help of everything other than the horn of the hair, meaning non-existent entity. So kutra katham dhyayam. Alright? How should I contemplate upon Brahman with reference to what object what should be the method of meditation with reference to what object, So what should be the way in which I should contemplate upon Brahman with reference to different objects? Please tell us. And that is said in the verse 26. Shiladau nama rupe dve, Shiladau nama rupe dve, Tyaktva sanmatra chintanam, Tyaktva sanmatra chintanam, Tyaktva dukkham ghora mudha, Tyaktva dukkham ghora mudha, Dhiyo satchid vichintanam, Dhiyo satchid vichintanam. Shiladau nam rupe dve tyaktva sanmatra chintanam. Shiladau. So in all inert objects such as shila, meaning a rock, etc., nam rupe dve tyaktva. Become indifferent to the name and form. It's a rock, fine. It's a chair, okay. It's a table, alright. Whatever it is. In what we call these various inert objects, they can also become means for contemplation upon Brahman. How? Nam rupe dve tyaktva. Thus being indifferent to the name and form. Just as when I am looking at a wave, I can become indifferent to the form of the wave, and I can focus my attention on the water, which is the content of the wave. And when I do that, actually my mind will fill with the idea of water, and the form will go away from my mind. If there is an ornament in front of me, well, I can look at the ornament, in which case the form of the ornament will be registered in my mind. But if I focus my attention on the gold, then slowly a point will come when that form will not register in my mind, but the thought of my mind will fill with the idea of gold. And similarly today also the name and form of any object that I come across is registered in my mind. But then, when I become indifferent to that name and form and focus my attention on the content, the essential name and form, which is asti, bhati, priyam. Asti in case of all the inert objects that exist in the flower is, crystal is, book is, table is. But easiness is very, very clear. Awareness may not be clear. Happiness may not be clear. But existence is very clear in all these objects. Therefore, may you meditate upon Brahma, which is existence, with the help of inert objects such as a rock, such as whatever, clay and so on and so forth. Sanmatra Chintanam, there is contemplation of Sanmatra, purely Sat or existence. Alright, that's one way. This is called Drushyanavidya, with reference to Drushya or the object. Now going to the mind, Tyaktva Dukkham Ghora Mudha Dhiyoho Satchid Vichintanam. Ghora Mudha Dhiyoho. As far as these thoughts are concerned, suppose the thoughts are Rajas and Tamas, then with reference to those thoughts, then also you can contemplate upon Brahma. Even if the mind is angry, there is anger, resentment, and all this kind of, let us say, the ghora or the agitating or disturbing thoughts are there in the mind, and then also one can contemplate upon Brahma. How do you do that? Tyaktva dukkham. Give the dukkha, the pain associated with these thoughts. So when there is anger, when there is resentment, when all these things are there, naturally there is pain. And so give up that pain. Alright, anger also is a thought. And what does it reflect? It has a certain form. So form is, so dukkha, or the pain is the form of that thought. So tyaktva dukkham, being indifferent to the dukkha or the pain which is the form of that thought, whether it's anger or jealousy or whatever. So what we call ghora vritti hai, what we call the rajas vritti, the rajas thoughts, the form of which is dukkha or the pain. Being indifferent to the pain, just be focused upon the fact that these thoughts also reflect existence and awareness. Doesn't matter what the thought is. Doesn't matter what the object is. The object is fine. Doesn't matter what the thought is. The thought is, and the thought reflects awareness. Because I could not be aware of the thought unless the thought was illumined by the awareness. And thought is like a mirror. And just as the mirror reflects my face, a thought also reflects awareness. And so, thus, just be focused upon the Sat and Chit that is reflected by any thought. Satchid Vishintanam. Ghora Mudha Buddhishu Dukkham Parityajya Satchitruvayoho Chintanam Kartavyam. That is what it says. And then when the mind is sattvic, then what? So the next verse is Sattvika Vrittishu Satchidanandaha Trayopi Dhyaha. On the other hand, when the mind becomes quiet, becomes tranquil, that time you can contemplate upon Sat, Chit and Ananda. All these three. Because a sattvic mind or a tranquil mind reflects all these three: existence, awareness and happiness. So that's why it is easiest. It's very difficult to contemplate upon Brahma when there is anger in my mind. When there is, agitation in my mind, it is very difficult to contemplate. Oh, they say, doesn't matter, let the anger be there. You say anger is just a form, doesn't matter to me that anger is, and that anger reflects awareness, that's all that counts. Then even that thought also can become a means for contemplation upon Brahman. But it is not easy. It is easier when the mind is tranquil, naturally. And then you can even anandoham, you can say, I am anandaha. That happiness that I am experiencing is myself. The silence that I am experiencing is myself. That silence is, which means there is existence. The silence is known, which means there is awareness. And it is silence, which means that there is happiness. So, what is it that provides existence to silence? The existence is there because of which the silence. So because of which the silence is. I am the awareness because of which the silence is known. I am the happiness because of which the silence reflects happiness. So even that thought which we call quietude or silence or tranquility, that also becomes a means for contemplation upon Brahman, which is Satchidananda. And this is being said in the verse 27. Shantasu Satchidanandan, Shantasu Satchidanandan, त्रीनप्येवं विचिन्तयेत् त्रीनप्येवं विचिन्तयेत् कनिष्ठमध्यमोत्कृष्टाः कनिष्ठमध्यमोत्कृष्टाः तिस्रश्चिन्ताः क्रमादिमाः तिस्रश्चिन्ताः क्रमादिमाः शान्तासु सच्चिदानन्दान् त्रीनपि एवं विचिन्तयेत्. Shantasu, the thoughts are, as I said, shanta, quiet or tranquil. Satchidanandan, trinapi, all these three, namely existence, awareness, happiness, evam vichintaye. Thus one may meditate upon Brahman or the self, which is Satchidananda, when the mind is quiet. Esham dhyananam kim samyam. Would you say that all these meditations are equal? To meditate upon existence with reference to such objects as rock, etc., or to meditate upon existence and awareness with various thoughts, or to meditate upon existence, awareness and happiness when the mind is tranquil, would you say that these meditations upon Brahma are all of the same nature or same level? He says no. Kanishta madhyamotkrishtaha tisraha chintaha kramadimaha imaha tisraha chintaha Kramat Kanishta Madhyamot Krishtaha. Say these meditations are in sequence. Kanishta, the inferior, Madhyama, the middling, and Utkrishta, meaning the exalted. In short, meditating upon Brahman, which is existence with reference to rocks, etc., is the most inferior. Meditating upon Brahman, which is existence, awareness with reference to thoughts of agitation, etc., middling. And meditation upon Brahman, which is existence, awareness and silence. When the mind is sattvic, it is the most exalted meditation. See, when the mind is quiet, you can meditate upon Brahman with reference to anything. Even you're looking at a tree, you're looking at a rock. If your mind is silent, that's the mind that is most conducive to meditation or contemplation upon Brahman. And you can say, this is crystal. The crystal is. This you can meditate upon easiness. Chair is, crystal is, clock is, eye is. This easiness. Or chair shines, crystal shines, the clock shines, eye shine, the awareness. Or the crystal is beautiful, chair is beautiful, clock is beautiful, eye is beautiful, beauty or happiness. So when the mind is tranquil, then the existence, awareness, everything will be beautiful, I tell you. When the mind is happy, you'll find everything beautiful, everything nice. Wonderful, great, everything is great, everything is wonderful, when the mind is happy. Oh, we have come to New York, wonderful. We are away from New York, that also is wonderful. I am in the car, that is also wonderful. Are we on the street, that also is wonderful. Why everything is wonderful? Because the mind is wonderful. Thus, it is not very difficult to see the beauty that is underlying everything, the whole existence, when our mind becomes beautiful. Therefore, it is necessary. For contemplation upon Brahma, it becomes almost necessary to have a mind that is beautiful. Therefore, the values which can make the mind beautiful. Therefore, a way of life, a contemplation, all of this is required, and study and reflection and resolving, all of this is required to make the mind, to become a beautiful person. It's not possible to discover the beauty of the self unless I become a beautiful person. And so, becoming a nice person, that's why it's called sadhu. Who is a sadhu? Sadhu is a simple person, or a good person. So one who is devoted to what we call sanmarga, or a path of goodness, or a path of dharma. So, therefore, what is the sadhanam? What is the means, the spiritual practice for becoming qualified for contemplation upon Brahman, the spiritual practice of becoming a good person? And for that, I may be willing to sacrifice anything, because ultimately, if suppose by accomplishing or by acquiring something or by attaining something, that goodness that you sacrifice is not worth it. Suppose by sacrificing my goodness I become a rich person, it's not worth it. Or, I don't know, suppose I am proven to be right, let us say, but goodness is sacrificed, it's not worth being right, I tell you. is not worth being anything if goodness of the self is sacrificed. Ultimately, that's what it amounts to. Right, wrong, indifferent, it is good, it is fine. Well, that may not work well in the world, but then, as far as the spiritual seekers are concerned, who do not have other goals to accomplish, accepting, of course, the basic needs of the person are satisfied, but beyond that, one doesn't want to acquire the name and fame, doesn't want to acquire anything, then it's possible to give up, sacrifice those things for the sake of goodness. I build up the treasure of goodness all along. Thus, I become what we call a sadhu, a good person. It is a mind. Sadhutvam is in the mind. And so it is that mind which is very suitable for learning, for studying, for contemplation. Therefore, our day-to-day life, whatever it is, can become also a spiritual life, where even if you don't think of Brahman, doesn't matter. Just think of goodness. Because that is Brahman in Vyavahara. So Brahman in Vyavahara is the goodness. And to the extent that I seek to accomplish that, to that extent, it is nothing but commitment towards this ultimate pursuit. Okay. Idanim nirguna brahmadhyane anadhikarinah anugrahaya mishra brahmadhyane adhikarati abhiprayanaha. Why are you describing or why are you talking about meditation in this manner? Nirguna brahmadhyane anadhikarinah anugrahaya. For the anugraha, for blessing or favoring those seekers who are not prepared for contemplation upon Brahman without the attributes. Because one should become as good as what one meditates upon. Devo bhutva devan yajet. So you should worship the God by first becoming God. In short, I should pretty closely become what I am contemplating upon. And thus closer I am to any identification, with freedom from identification with the name and form, then closer I am to meditate upon Brahman, which is without name and form. And more I am identified with my name and form, to that extent I am qualified to contemplate upon Brahman with name and form. And so naturally, Lord Krishna also says, Klesho dhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chedasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavad viravapyate. That this path of worship or contemplation or meditation is difficult, is more difficult. Even path of action is difficult, but then path of worship is even more difficult. Worship in the sense that when action is performed for the sake of God, or the contemplation upon Lord with form is even more difficult. However, the person who wants to contemplate upon God without form is extremely difficult. So easier than that is to meditate upon the Lord with form. Easier than that, of course, is to worship Lord with form. Easier than that is not worshipping, And so because mind has natural tendency which is extrovert. So in short, it is very difficult to contemplate upon Lord without form. So this was recognized by the Vedic seers. Even though ultimately God is without form and without attribute, to contemplate upon that is extremely difficult, requires a tremendous amount of preparation and subtlety of the mind. And until that is done, should you not at all think of God? So then, until then, one contemplates upon God with form. Inasmuch as every God alone is the abhinna nimittopādana karanam, is both the intelligent and the material cause, it doesn't matter what you are meditating upon, because everything becomes nothing, everything is a manifestation of Brahman. And so, it is easier relatively to meditate upon Brahman with reference to an upadhi, with reference to a name and form. Even that is not easy. Usually we react to the names and forms. So even meditation upon Brahman with reference to name and form also is possible when my mind does not react to them. So when a name and form is not important, I don't react to a name and form, then alone even that meditation is possible. So even that is not easy. But it is so difficult to meditate upon Brahman without any attribute. And so in order to favor those students who are not capable of meditating upon Brahman without attributes, for Mishra Brahmadhyana Adhikara, they have definitely competence or qualification to meditate upon Brahman as associated with names and forms. And said, that is what he said in the verse 28. Mandasya vyavaharepi mishra brahmani chintanam उत्कृष्टं वक्तुमेवात्र विषयानंद ईरितः मंदस्य व्यवहारे भी मिश्र ब्रह्मणि चिंतनम. Mandasya, one who is manda. Manda means one who is dull-witted. Meaning one is not qualified, not yet prepared to meditate upon Brahman without the attributes. Vyavaharepi, in our day-to-day transaction also. Mishra Brahmani Chintanam Utkrishtam, that student also can meditate upon Mishra Brahman as associated with the names and forms. So what is Vyavahara? So what is our day-to-day transaction? Also is nothing but with Brahman. If everything is Brahman, then naturally whatever I am dealing with is nothing but Brahman, except Brahman in association with different names and forms and attributes and functions. So what I am dealing with constantly is Brahman, with different names, forms and attributes and functions. And so, Utkrishtam Vaktum, and that is a very exalted form of meditation. To be able to focus, keep my focus that everything is Brahman, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Every name and form is nothing but manifestation of Brahman. And thus keep my mind focused upon Brahma. In and through the dealing with the names and forms, this is an exalted meditation. And in order to enable the student to do that, Atra Vishayananda Iditaha. For that the author says, we have here discussed what we call Vishayananda, the ananda or happiness arising from an object. So this particular topic is discussed here because even an understanding of the happiness arising from the experience of an object also becomes a gateway to the contemplation upon Brahma. So an understanding of the happiness arising from a sense object as to how, when my desire is fulfilled, how the mind becomes quiet. And when I experience an object of my desire, how it becomes even further quiet. And that in those quiet frames of mind, what I experience is nothing but Ananda, that is Brahma. And therefore, those experiences also become a means for contemplation upon Brahma, and therefore we have discussed those things here. And Vishaya also can mean object. Objects are of three kinds. One is inert objects, like rock, etc. Others are the thoughts of Rajas and Tamas. And third are the Rajas thought, meaning the thoughts even of disturbance, desire, anger, etc. And third object is what we call the Shanta Vritti, or the tranquil states of mind. So three kinds of objects are there, and here the author has described meditation upon Brahman with reference to these three kinds of objects. So upon the inert objects, meditate upon Brahman, that is Sattva. Upon various thoughts, meditate upon Brahman, which is of the nature of Chit and Sat. Upon the mind, which is tranquil, meditate upon Brahman, which is Sat Chit Ananda. Evam savrittikam dhyanatra muktva avrittikam dhyanamaha. In this manner, having said the dhyana or meditation involving the thoughts, now he stated the meditation which doesn't involve the thought in the verse 29. Audasinye tu dhivrittehe Shaithilyaduttamottamam Chintanam vasananande Dhyanamuktam chaturvidham Audasinya tu dhivrittehe. Says even better than this is Audasinyam, when the mind is totally free from ragadveshas, jivrittehe shaitilyat, then slowly, even the thoughts of the mind also start resolving. So when the mind is quiet or sattvic, then also the thoughts are. Thoughts are what we call sattvic, or the quiet. All the thoughts are of tranquility. And in course of time, when even that tranquil state of mind also is there for a period of time, then even that tranquil mind also resolves. Dhivrittehe shaitilyat. The dhivritti meaning that state of the mind, shaitilyat, becomes loose, meaning that also resolves. Uttamottamam chintanam vasanande dhyanamuktam. And then the dhyanam or the contemplation upon Brahman is called vasanananda, where there is an absorption, but absorption still involving a sense of I-ness, and so that is called vasanananda. Chintanam vasananande dhyanamuktam chaturvidam. This can be called the fourth kind of meditation, where there is an absorption, although there is an awareness of the ahankara to some extent, and therefore it is not Brahmananda, it is called Vasanananda, which is closest to Brahmananda. And this was described in the 11th chapter. In the 11th chapter this was described. Ebhya dhyanebhya adhikam ityartha. So, Uttamottamam meaning that this meditation with reference to Vasanananda is even superior to other three meditations. Uktam nigamayati dhyana muktam chaturvidam. In this manner, we have stated the fourfold meditations upon Brahman. Ayam dhyana avantar bheda kim naityaha. Is it the fourth kind of meditation or different kind of meditation? He says no, the verse 38 says here. Nadhyanam jnana yogabhyam Nadhyanam jnana yogabhyam Brahma vidyaiva sakhalu Brahma vidyaiva sakhalu Dhyanenikagramapanne Dhyanenikagramapanne Chitte vidyasthiri bhaved Chitte vidyasthiri bhaved. Not dhyanam, we would say that this is Brahma Vidya is not really dhyanam. Jnana yogabhyam Brahma Vidya eva sakhalu. So, this thing that we call dhyanam, this vasanananda etc., is not said to be dhyanam or meditation, but it is Brahma Vidya alone. It is really nothing but the knowledge of Brahma, because jnana yogabhyam, it involves yoga in the sense of concentration, and jnana in the sense of vichara or inquiry or discrimination, and therefore we say that there is nothing but Brahma Vidya. Dhyanena aikagramapanne chitte vidya sthiri bhave. And thus by the process of meditation, when the mind becomes aikagram, meaning when the mind becomes focused, absorbed, single-pointed, chitte vidya sthiri bhave, then that mind, the Brahma Vidya, becomes abiding. So this is really chapter of Brahma Vidya more than the chapter of Dhyanam. Because when we meditate upon Sat or Chit or Ananda, with reference to different names and forms, it involves a discrimination between what? Asti, Bhadi, Priyam and Nam Rupa. So a Viveka or discrimination is required. In that sense it can be called Jnanam or Vichara. And it also involves the process of concentration. So it also involves yoga. So Jnana Yoga Abhyam. Since the meditation that we are talking about here involves both as well as concentration, we would not say that this is merely meditation. Meaning meditation upon a particular form, where there is a meditation, that's the meditation on a particular form like Dakshinamurti would involve the meditation on a form. Here we are not meditating upon the form. With the help of form, we are in fact meditating upon Asti, Bhati and Priyam. So we say that this is not meditation, but this is really Brahma Vidya. because it involves both a discrimination as well as it involves concentration. Brahma Vidya Sakhalu. So therefore this is really Brahma Vidya indeed. Dhyanena Aikagrim Apanne. And therefore, this by this constant practice of what you call meditation or contemplation rather in this manner, Chitte Aikagrim Apanne, as the mind becomes concentrated more and more, Vidyas, Chitte Vidyas Thri Bhavet, then that Brahma Vidya, knowledge of Brahman, becomes abiding as the mind also becomes abiding. By practice, as the mind becomes abiding, as the names and forms become less and less important, as the content, Asti Bhadi Priyam, become more and more important, mind becomes more and more abiding, and the knowledge also becomes abiding. Astyaha Vidyatva Hetumaha. Why do you call it Brahma Vidya rather than meditation? For that, the reason is stated in the verse 31. Vidyayam Satchidanandaha Akhandaikara Satmadam Prapya Bhantina Bhedena Bhedakopadhivarjanad. Vidyayam Satchidanandaha Akhandaikara Satmadam Prapya Bhedena na bhanti Bhedakopadhivarjanad. Says Vidyayam, Brahma Vidyayam, in Brahma Vidya, Satchidanandaha Akhandaikara Satmadam Prapya. Sat, Chit, Ananda, all of them become one. They no more remain different. That Sat is not different from Chit, Chit is not different from Ananda. All of them become Ekarasa, meaning they become all one. So Ekasatmadam Prapya Bhedena na bhanti. No more do they appear different from one another. That Sat is different from Chit or Chit is different from Ananda. Bhedaka Upadhi Varjanat. You see, we say that in the rocks and such inert objects, the existence is manifest. And in the conscious objects, awareness also is manifest. And then in the tranquility, then Ananda or happiness also is manifest. So it looks like different upadhis manifest different Brahman differently. But as we see the oneness of the Sat and Chit and Ananda, slowly the differences obtaining the upadhi, they no more remain important, and therefore mind is able to contemplate upon Satchidananda or abide in Satchidananda. And so, really speaking, Satchit Ananda is evident everywhere. But it is easy to dwell upon the Sat or existence with reference to inert object because it is difficult to see the awareness there. Awareness is present only in the sense that the object shines. And happiness is present in as much as the object has, but it requires certain mind to see the beauty. So when that is not there, it's easy to dwell upon the Sat or the existence associated with an inert object. Easier to dwell upon the awareness associated with a conscious object. And easier to dwell upon the Ananda or happiness when the mind has become tranquil. Ultimately, all of these will merge into one because they are all one. And so, Bhedaka Upadhi Varjanat. When the upadhis, the names and forms which create apparently differences between the Satchit Ananda, when the upadhis are not there, meaning that when those upadhis do not count, then the Satchit Ananda, all of them become one. Therefore we say that this is Brahma Vidya. What are these? Bhedakopadhi Varjanadi Yuktam Taneva Bhedakopadhina. Alright. What are these upadhis which seem to create a difference between Satchit Ananda? That is said in the verse 32. Shanta Ghora Shiladyascha Bhedakopadhayo Mataha Yogadvivekato Vaisham Upadhinam apakritihi. So again, Shantaha Ghuraha Shiladyascha Bhedakopadhayo Mataha. The Shanta Vritti reflects Ananda, Ghor Vritti reflects Chit, Shiradi and the inert objects reflect Sat. So these are all the different upadhis, the names and forms that seem to apparently create the difference in Brahman as manifest as Sat, Chit or Ananda. Yoga Vivekatova. Either by yoga meaning concentrating the mind upon Asti Bhati Priyam, or Vivekato meaning discrimination between the name and form and Asti Bhati Priyam. Upadhinam apakritihi. This upadhi or name and form slowly and slowly becomes less and less significant and loses significance completely, and then the only thing that remains significant to the seeker is Asti Bhati and Priyam. And therefore, Phalitamaha, what is the phala or what is the result of all this? Said in verse 33. Nirupadi Brahma Tattve, Nirupadi Brahma Tattve, Bhasamane Swayam Prabhe, Bhasamane Swayam Prabhe, Advaite Triputi Nasti, Advaite Triputi Nasti, Bhumanandota Uchyade, Bhumanandota Uchyade. Nirupadi Brahma Tattve Swayam Brahme Advaite Bhasamane Triputi Nasti. Bhasamane, when this shines, Nirupadi Brahma Tattve, when Brahma Tattvam, meaning Brahman, devoid of any attributes as a very self, Swayam Prabhe, which is self-effulgent, Advaite, which is non-dual, Bhasamane, when it shines. So Brahman without attributes, when it shines as a very self, which is non-dual, because there is no duality between Jiva and Brahman. And Swayam Prabha, which is self-effulgent, then Triputi Nasti. There is no Triputi or the triad. What is the triad? The knower, the known and the knowing, or the thinker, the thought and thinking. This kind of triad also completely subsides. Bhumananda atahuchyate. And then what there is the Advaita, non-dual. This is called Bhumananda. This is what is the subject matter of the 7th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. Not this, but Bhumananda, which is a dialogue between the sage Sanat Kumara and sage Narada, where Sanat Kumara gives him the instruction about Bhuma. Yo vai Bhuma tat sukham. Bhuma means abundant, another name for Brahman. So, ataha Bhumananda ataha uchyate. That is called Bhumananda, when yatra nanyat pashyati, nanyat shranoti, nanyat vijanati, tad Bhuma. Says when one does not hear anything, one does not see anything, when one does not know anything. That is called Bhuma, meaning the non-dual, where the hearer, hearing, heard, knower, knowing, known, all of these resolve completely. And that is the ultimate Bhumananda or Brahmananda. And thus, what we call Vishayananda becomes a gate for this Bhumananda. And that is the reason why in this chapter we have described the Vishayananda. That's what is said in the verse 34, concluding the subject matter of the 15th chapter. Brahmananda Bhide Granthe, Brahmananda Bhide Granthe, Panchamodhyaya Iritah, Panchamodhyaya Iritah, Vishayananda Etena, Vishayananda Etena, Dvarenantah Pravishyadam, Dvarenantah Pravishyadam. Brahmananda Bhide Granthe. In this Grantha, or this text or section called Brahmananda, consisting of the 5 chapters, Panchamodhyaya Iritah, we have thus stated the 5th chapter in this section called Brahmananda, consisting of the 5 chapters. So what is the subject matter of this chapter? Vishayananda. It is called Vishayananda, the joy that is derived from the experience of sense objects, or the Ananda associated with the sense objects. Etena dvarena antah pravishyadam. What's the reason why you discuss this kind of Ananda? Etena dvarena, through this gate or through this means, antah pravishyadam. Usually, Vishayananda, meaning the happiness arising from a sense object, involves extrovertedness, because my mind is directed to an object. So it's all right, but then when slowly and slowly mind becomes inward, as the mind becomes tranquil, so Even may this experience of the sense objects, may it also enable you to contemplate upon Brahma, and thus may your mind become more and more introvert and abiding, and ultimately may it abide completely in the knowledge of Brahman. And thus, ultimately to enable the student to be able to gain an abidance in knowledge of Brahman, we have described as Vishayananda, which becomes a gate or stepping stone, let us say. It's a stepping stone for ultimately making the mind introvert and gaining an abiding knowledge. And this is how the 15th chapter is concluded. And in the last verse, the author concludes the whole text with a benediction in the verse 35. Priyadharirharo nena brahmanandena sarvada payacha praninas sarvan svashritan chuddhamanasan Priyat harihi haraha anena brahmanandena sarvada. Anena brahmanandena. By this section or by this text called Brahmananda, harihi haraha sarvada priyat. Hari means Lord Narayana. Hara means Lord Shiva. Doesn't say any difference between them. Harir haraha. So, may the Lord Narayana and the Lord Shiva, and it is in singular, Priyat, may that Lord who is Narayana as well as Shiva, who is Hari as well as Hara. So why do they call him Hari? Harir harati papani, dustyachittai smrito viva. So even if somebody remembers Hari or Lord Narayana, Lord, even if somebody remembers having an impure mind, or remembers even with an evil thought, so there are stories in Bhagavatam where the evil-minded people, the devils, they also got liberated because their mind was focused upon Krishna, even out of anger or hatred. So his uncle comes all the time thought of Krishna out of a total resentment or hatred. There was Shishupala. He all the time thought of Krishna. Every day he used to recite 1,000 abuses of Krishna. Every day. So we recite 1,000 names of Krishna as for worship. He used to recite 1,000, bad words for Krishna. But anyway, his mind was focused upon Krishna. He also got liberated. So idea is that it doesn't matter in what way your mind is focused upon Krishna, whether it is a pure way or impure way, it doesn't matter. If you touch fire, knowingly or unknowingly, the hand is going to be burned. That's the nature of fire, that if you touch, even without an intention, you will experience that heat. And so also even without an intention, if you remember God, He is going to withdraw or remove your sins. So harati iti harihi. So one who removes is called Hari. Or harati iti haraha. One who removes is called Hara. Both. So both these words, Hari and Hara, both of them are derived from the root thrill, in the sense of removing. So hruprapane, taking, removing. So harihi haraha anena brahmanandena sarvata priyat. So thus the author offers his prayer to the Lord, that this work I have done all right. May the Lord Hari and Hara, may that Lord always be pleased by this text called Brahmananda. So he offers it to the Lord. Not only that, but he offers his prayers and benediction to all the seekers. Payacha praninasravan swashritan shuddhamanasan. Swashritan shuddhamanasan sarvan praninascha payat. And may that Lord in the form of Hari and Hara, payat, may he protect. Sarvan pranina, may he protect all the beings. Who are they? Swashritan, those who have taken refuge in him. Shuddhamanasan, and those who are pure-minded. Of course, only pure-minded will take refuge in the Lord. Impure-minded will never do that. Impure-minded people will take refuge of everything and anything except God. So naturally, those who take refuge in God are pure-minded. So, Swashritan Shuddhamanasan, those seekers of pure-minded seekers who have taken the refuge of the Lord, may the Lord protect them. So may the Lord bless them or protect them. So may the Lord in the form of Hari and Hara be ever pleased with this text, and may He also protect all those devotees who have taken refuge of Him, and those who are pure-minded, may He protect them all. So thus with prayer, Mangala. We begin with Mangala meaning prayer or invocation, and end also with invocation. In between also there were invocations. So Adau, Madhye, Antecha. Says the Bhashyakara, the original Bhashyakara meaning the commentator of the Panini Sutra, is Sage Patanjali, who is the first Bhashyakara, who wrote Bhashya or a commentary on the Sutra of the aphorisms of Pranini. He says that all those texts will always be great or glorious, which begin with a prayer or benediction or invocation, which are invocation in the middle, and which concludes invocation. All those texts will always be great. They will always shine. So in keeping with that tradition, the author concludes this text also with meditation. And thus the text called Paṃcadaśī. It is Srimad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Shri Vidyaranya Muni Virchitayam Paṃcadaśyam Brahmanande Vishayanando Nama Panchamodhyaya Samaptaha. The fifth chapter called Vishayananda is thus concluded, and the whole text called Paṃcadaśī also gets concluded along with this. It's called Paṃcadaśī. The name is very simple. Paṃcadasha means 15. Pancha means 5. Dasha means 10. Paṃcadasha means 5 plus 10, 15. This text is called Paṃcadaśī because it is 15 chapters, that's all. So text consisting of 15 chapters is called Paṃcadaśī. Consisting of 3 sections of 5 chapters each. The first 5 chapters are called Viveka. So different kinds of Viveka, Tattva Viveka. So different kinds of Vivekas are there. So Mahabhuta Viveka, Dvaita Viveka, and Panchakosha Viveka, Mahavakya Viveka. This Viveka or discriminations are there. Discriminative inquiry. The second 5 chapters are called Deepa because they illumine. So we can say that the first 5 chapters basically focus attention on Sat or existence. The second 5 chapters focus attention on Chit or awareness. So all those chapters are named as Deepa. And thus we have Trupti Deepa, we have the Trupti Deepa, Dhyana Deepa, and then Nataka Deepa, and we have the Chitra Deepa, Kutastha Deepa, right. Chitra Deepa, Kutastha Deepa, Trupti Deepa, Dhyana Deepa, Nataka Deepa. So all this Deepa, Deepa means a lamp. So they illumine and fights, they basically focus attention on Chit or the awareness. And the 5 last chapters have Ananda, focus attention on Ananda or happiness. Satchit Ananda. In this manner, the arrangement of 15 chapters is, the text is said to be written by the great teacher Swami Vidyaranya. It is said that perhaps it is not complete, the whole text is not completed by him. Then his teacher, called Bharati Tirtha, is said to have completed the remaining chapters. How many chapters did Swami Vidyaranya write? Perhaps 6 chapters. And then the other 9 chapters were completed by Bharati Tirtha. Other opinion is, perhaps Swami Vidyaranya wrote 10 chapters, and the last 5 chapters were written by Bharati Tirtha. So between those 2 sages, the 15 chapters are completed. Or basically it is said to be a text written by Swami Vidyaranya. It is one of the very important texts, also text which is very highly regarded in the tradition of Vedanta, and all sadhus generally study the text because it has more than 1500 verses. And in this canvas of 1500 verses, the author takes the opportunity to discuss in detail variety of aspects of the Vedanta, variety of aspects. And thus this one text is complete to give us all that we need. One text is complete. It has everything in it. And so various doubts that may arise, various questions that may arise, all of these are taken up and answered in this text here. So it is indeed a beautiful text. It's really a great privilege to study this text in all the detail that we have been able to do. Well, it has taken us 4 sessions, but that we have completed the whole text, all the verses, cover to cover. It is a great, it's a matter of great satisfaction, and as I said, a great blessing that we were able to do, and that's nice. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.